ඔව් කාන්තාවට ධෛර්යය වීර්ය උත්සාහය තියෙන්න ඕන. එවිට අපිට පුළුවන් මේ රට ලෝකය වෙනුවෙන් අපේ ශක්තිය එකතු කරන්න. ඇය දිරිමත් රට සවිමත් කරන්න මෙවර ජාත්‍යන්තර කාන්තා දිනය නිර්මාණය වෙන්නේ ඒ නිසාම තමයි. අපි සූදානම් වෙන්නේ මේ කතාබහට තවත් සුවිශේෂී කෙනෙක් එකතු කරන්නට අපි ඇයට ආරාධනා කරන්න සූදානම් වෙන්නේ. ලංකාවේ කාන්තාවන්ගේ ව්‍යවසායකත්වයේ වෙනුවෙන් ඒ ව්‍යවසායකත්වයේ සංවර්ධනය කරන්න එවැනි සංස්කෘතියක් බිහි කරන්න ඇය සැමපිටම උත්සාහ කරන සමාජ ක්‍රියාකාරිනියක්. ඒ වගේම පොඩි ජොබ්ස් මේ සංකල්පය නිර්මාණය කරමින් ශ්‍රී ලංකාවේ පළමු වරට අපිට නිදහසේ කතා කරන්න පුළුවන් වේදිකාවක් ඇති කරන්නට ශ්‍රී ලාංකිකයන්ගේ දක්ෂතා ඔපනන්වමින් දුරස්ථ සහ අර්ධකාලීන රැකියා අවස්ථා සපයමින් රට තුළ වෙනසක් කරන්න උත්සාහ දරපු කෙනෙක් තමයි ඇය. ව්‍යාපාරික ශේෂ්ත්‍රයට බොහෝ දෙනා යොමු කරන්නටත් ඇය උත්සාහ කරනවා. කාන්තාවක් විදිහට ව්‍යවසායිකාවක් විදිහට තමන්ගේ ශක්තිය එකතු කරනවා වගේම සමාජයේ අන් සියලු දෙනාත් ඒ හා සමානව ඒ ශක්තියට එකතු කරන්න තමයි ඇය උත්සාහ කරන්නේ. අපි ආරාධනා කරනවා යුස්රා අසීස් අපි ඔබට ඉතාමත්ම ගෞරවයෙන් ආරාධනා කරන්නේ මේ තරුණ පිරිස ආමන්ත්‍රණය කරන්නට.
Thank you. Good morning. So I'll try to do a bit of Sinhala and English, Singlish එකක් වගේ, but you might need your headphones as well, or half බාගෙට දාලා අහන්න පුළුවන්. My journey is not an easy one. It's very up and down. There are good times and there are bad times. And before all of this you see on the board, I'm a mum. මට පොඩි I call them rascals or monkeys. I have 3 of them. They're 7, see I've forgotten their ages also. 7, 5 and 2. And they're all boys and at home it's absolute madness. So I'll take you back to before they arrived and how I got here. And I was working in IT. I did my degree. I did my internship. I graduated at a time when the whole economy crashed and no one had jobs. Luckily, I had my internship through college and I went back to see my old boss and another boss said, "What are you doing?" And I said, "Mang exam karala දැන් ගෙදර ඉන්නේ results එනකන්." And he said, "Send your CV." And I was like, "Okay, I'll send my CV." So I sent my CV and I got in and I got into my dream job, which is being a business consultant. But then later on, I met my husband. I realized that being a workaholic, and I never left office past 7 because we were always on US timing. I realized that if I wanted to have kids, I couldn't do it. I couldn't travel, who's going to look after the children, and I wanted to be a mum, a very hands-on mum who, you know, does everything. So I left, and I became a complete, and they call it a stay-at-home mum. And it wasn't easy because one minute I was typing documents for Fortune 500 companies and then suddenly I was sweeping ගෙදර වැඩ කරලා. It was very difficult for me to go through that stage. But I was the chef, the cook, the cleaner, the gardener, the everything, and I was looking after my boys as well. Just after my first was born, I went completely bonkers. And I said, look, this doesn't do. I didn't do a degree to sit at home and sweep floors or mop the house or look after kids. You know, that can't be it. That shouldn't be it for me. So I also met other mums in that same space where they had done their degrees, they had work, they had experience, and then they had left, you know, to take care of family, either because their husbands were working or like some of them had to do jobs just because it was difficult with one person working in the family to look after kids and all of that. Because when you have kids, my gosh, you're forever living in the supermarket, right? Either Cargills or Kiehl's, and that's literally where you spend your savings. So I don't go shopping anymore. I hang out at Cargills and Kiehl's thanks to the kids. But literally, I wanted to do something for these ladies because they had done their degrees, they had got, you know, amazing experience. They were just really good, but no one was wanting to work with them. I got in touch with my old company and I asked them, you know, will you hire me remotely? So not to come into work every day, but to work from home. And they said, sorry, we can't do that. And I said, Sri Lanka is the IT capital, you know, like we're really good with IT. How come I can't work for companies that are here? And so I started Puri Jobs. And only because I freelanced from my home for startups and other companies abroad, global companies. And I think that was really good because I freelanced in so many different spaces. So at one point I was a business consultant, which is what I did, or I was a project manager, and I still do these jobs because I can't say no to clients, a content writer, so I was writing articles for magazines or papers or whatever they want to do, or websites or anything. And that gave me a whole perspective that I wouldn't have got sitting in my office job. And I started to learn things. So one minute I was, doing PR for someone, or I was scheduling calls for someone, and it was interesting. It was small amounts of work that I could balance with the children, and it was quite interesting. So I wanted other mums in Sri Lanka to have this opportunity, because when I started looking for jobs in Sri Lanka, they asked me to come to Anuradhapura to give a copy of my ID, and I said just to do data entry. ඇයි මං එච්චර දුර යන්න ඕනේ ID කොපියක් දෙන්න ඕනේ, like can't I just start work and get paid? So Puri Jobs was born. It was bootstrapped. Why? Because, and do you all know what bootstrap means? Yes? No? So no funding. Literally no funding, right? And when I did my research, I found out that other mums had access to social media, but wouldn't essentially access like a website or something. So being the perfect BA I drew up plans for all of this, and I had it there. But then when the research came back in, and I, started calling up people and saying, would you sign up to a website? Would you do this? They said no, and I had to. I still remember, because I worked so hard on it. I had to put these plans away in a cupboard. And I looked at what were the tools and the options, because everyone said if you want to start up, you need venture funding, you need this amount of funding, you need grants, you need that. And I said, okay, we have so many free tools. Like if you Google, you'll find them, right? And I wondered, why can't I utilize these? Should I build an app? Should I do this? Should I not have a website? So what I did was I created a very simple Google form. And I asked these questions: what do you want to freelance in? What's your email address? All of this, what are the times you can freelance? Just basic questions, right? And I started a Facebook page. And I sent it to a couple of friends, and the whole thing went viral. And suddenly we were having, inquiries. And literally when I started, I didn't have work for the amount of freelancers we had all of a sudden. But they all wanted them, them on their mailing lists and everything. And now 3 years later, we have over 2,000 freelancers. We're doing different sort of jobs, from content writing to website building to, I don't know, we even have compeers, we have mums. I remember we used to do things like gardening and plumbing and everything, but that, I made the decision and I said, no, this is very difficult to do it all, so let's just do the data work. And so now we're doing that, and it's 3 years down the line, and it's amazing. There have been, and I have my 2-member team, they're both mums. I think we were the first startup to have no office. So everyone said, how do we pay you, and do we come to your office? And I said, there's no office. I have my home if you'd like to visit. And they were like, how are you operating without an office? And they're saying, it's possible, it's virtual. But on the registration, of course, it was my home. I didn't want everybody sitting at my home. But what I'm trying to tell you is that if you think about these things, if you dream about starting up, I don't think you need a lot of money to start up. There's so many free available tools online that you can build apps, you can build a website, you can start using social media, and it's just amazing, right? And now what I do is I coach others and I say, look, you want to do this is how you can do it. It's so easy. So I don't think you should think that startups, and if you look at all the startups, even here at Hatch, you see they're big companies. But if you actually look at them, all of them have started from a kitchen table or a dining table. And I still work at my dining table, and I still have my kids yelling on phone calls and stuff. But I don't think, as women, we should be ashamed of all those things. I had a big issue because I couldn't take Now remember, I was taking care of the kids alone. I didn't have a nanny or anyone to look after them. And there are 3 boys, right? The minute I pick up the phone, they are fighting and they're killing each other at the back. And I have to shout. Sometimes I have to put the call on mute and go, boys, can you all keep quiet till I finish this call? But it was really funny because when all of this was happening, and I used to avoid calls initially, right? I was doing transcribing work for Justin Bieber's manager, Scooter Braun, right? Now, if I wasn't a freelancer, I wouldn't have got that opportunity. And literally, I heard him say to the person who was interviewing him, he said, look, today's the day that I look after my son. And if you have a problem with it, we can do this call another day, or we can go ahead now, but you'll hear him in the background, right? And during that interview, he stopped so many times and he said, hey, are you okay? You can put this block there, and all of that. And I thought, why are we hiding? Why are we making it such a big issue if kids yell in the back when Justin Bieber's manager is telling people I'm looking after my child? So I started doing that with all the managers who I spoke to, with all the, the HR directors I was talking to, and I said, look, my child is in the background, and then something very nice happened, right? Like even if they were male or female, they said, look, we know that feeling. We've been there. We've also had the kids shout in the background. We've also run away from calls, and it's really nice to hear that again. And I thought, that's something that we hide. Even when we become a mum, we think, okay, to tell our boss that we have our kids at home, or, I need to do this, or I need to do that for children or whatever, we close ourselves up. But we shouldn't do that anymore. As women, we need to be open and, say, okay. And to all the boys, one day you're going to either be in a company or you're going to be doing your own thing. And when someone comes and tells you, even if it's another guy, comes and tells you, hey, I'm looking after my child today, respect them. Because honestly, looking after kids is so much more a bigger job than doing a job itself. So essentially, that's Podi Jobs, and that's where I am now. But my company hasn't been, it's not been easy. There are so many days I wanted to close up, and I wonder why I'm doing what I'm doing. Or I get up and I think, oh no, I have to do it all over again. Or I have the school run, I have homework, I have to go suddenly to the bookshop to get some pictures for arts or science or whatever they're doing. But then later on, I'll get a call somewhere during the day, and that'll be a mum, or even dads now, because they're also freelancing, or they're working 2 jobs somewhere in, either from the East Coast or middle or down south, and they'll tell me, we did this job, and we got paid like 5,000 rupees, but we managed to paint the wall in the house, or we managed to give our kid a party, or something like that. And then you think, wow, okay. And then they ask, do you have any other jobs? And it could have been just a document they did or something. But then you really feel it, and you think, okay, I'm not only doing something that gives me a little bit of money, but I'm also doing good. And that is such a good feeling, and also motivation to start this whole rat race again the next day. So with Podi Jobs being such an up and down move, and I mean the tech space, there's a lot of boys in it, right? And it's a very much, and I love saying this, and the boys hate me for saying it, but it's a very boys club. It's a very boys space. It's all machang level. Machang, when are we doing this? Machang, when are we doing that? And barake set vela, we plan kata karamu, and all of that. But hey, I don't visit bars. Like, how am I supposed to get into that plan, right? So it hasn't been easy, and we've seen now the girls increasing in that space, and we're seeing girls taking this tech. But now I tell boys, and I say, hey, machangs, I don't do the bar scene, but if you'd like, we can talk about it over the phone, or I schedule a call, and let's do it. So if you want to not fit into the rest, there are ways to do it. And you shouldn't be afraid to take those ways. Sometimes they work for me. Sometimes the machangs don't want to work with me, or they'll do something completely different to what they discussed with me. That's fine. That's fine. You take it and you do your own thing, but you continue to work forward, right? And very weirdly, Work is a platform that I built with a fellow machang. Weirdly, it started here at Hatch. and it's not too, it's just been launched, but it is an app for women. Now you'll think, why is a Machang involved in this, right? His name is Amrit Rupasinghe, and he also runs another tech company. But essentially why that all happened was because he reached out and said, why are girls being ignored? And I said, look, we're all the time ignored. If you go to a pitch meeting, you know, everyone looks for they ask me, who's the boss? Can we speak to the boss? And I'm like, I'm the boss. I'm here to talk to you today. Sometimes I'm in my jeans and runners, and they're like, are you sure you've come to meet the other boss? And I'm like, yeah, that's me. But he noticed these things, and these things happen, right? As women, we are ignored, or like we'll get into the WhatsApp group and type something, and then literally have everyone, you know, go over that and not reply to us, and then we're sitting all there going, why didn't anybody reply to us? But these things happen. So he asked me why, you know, it happens, and I said, it happens, but we kind of ignore it, and we deal with it, and we move on. And he was like, this shouldn't be happening. I was like, yeah, you're right. This shouldn't be happening. And Pori Jobs went through an acquisition, right? We had to pull out. Now, I did the acquisition only because I had training in, you know, exit strategies and all of that, which is why advice sometimes is so important as a woman, right? I pulled it back out because the acquisition wasn't benefiting our freelancers. They didn't understand how freelancers, how mums worked, right? Sometimes mums call me in the middle of a job and then they say, my child has dengue, they're in hospital. So we can't say, sorry, we gave you a job, you have to do it now. You have to replace them, right? So I didn't want, you know, to break that. So I bought my company back, right? And now we're stuck in a branding problem because we rebranded it and now we're back to Pori Jobs. But I really wish that I had other women to reach out to talk about this, you know, because guys don't talk about business, right? When was the last time, okay, so I'm going to ask the boys, when was the last time you all spoke to a girl about business or something technical? And when was the last time you spoke to a boy about business or technical or something? Anyone? Yaluo set vela, like when you all ask a question like, oh, how's Machang, did you see that app? It does cool things. When did you all last have a conversation with a boy or a girl? Anyone? Are app එක දැකලා මේ app එක මේක පුළුවන්? Or was it all with boys or girls? Girls, have you all had that conversation? No? There's one. Is there any more? No? Okay, so there you go. So these conversations don't happen, right? But I think it should. As boys, you all should go up to girls, even the girls here, right? Or even everybody here, you all need to talk about these things and do that. So because this doesn't, like, it's not only you all, it's the whole of Sri Lanka, right? Because this doesn't happen, we built work. And essentially, my friend Amrit helped with the whole app, and I helped with what we needed in the app. And we built it, and it's something nice because we're bringing women from all over Sri Lanka and in all levels together. And it's really cool. You should like check out our social media. And we're doing really cool things. But essentially what I think is you shouldn't stop yourself from doing anything you want to do. And today, if you want to do something, there's so many options out there. So you shouldn't stop yourself, you know, you should say, I'm a mom now, I have to give up my career. Or I'm a dad, I have to now focus only on work and not look at my happiness. That happens. That happens because moms and dads do these things, right? They sacrifice their lives for the children. But my theory is that when you come to that stage, when you become a parent, or even now when you graduate and you know you're in university or you get out of university, live your life, use that time. I wish I was freelancing from the time that I graduated, right? And great things can happen because with the use of tech, the world connects and you can reach other borders and other destinations. It doesn't matter if you're even selling like a leaf to someone, you can sell it to someone in Singapore or Australia and call it an exotic leaf and they might buy it. So don't stop yourself from grabbing these opportunities. And don't, think, අරය කියයි මේක මෙයා කියයි ඒක the auntie network මෙහෙම කියයි මේ අම්මට ෆෝන් කරලා බනි. So don't think about all of that. Just do it and do it in a proper way, and one day you will get there. If you're a male or a female, it doesn't matter, because that doesn't matter anymore in the world. What matters is what you have here and what you have here. And when those two connect, great things can happen. So happy Women's Day.
You